Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to us, and that is school culture. How important is school culture, or can you even define school culture? It's said that school culture, the definition is elusive. They say you can identify a good culture, you can identify a toxic culture, but can you identify a culture that is successful? When you walk into a building, can you tell what people believe? Can you tell what's considered as the norms in that school? Can you see any traditions or any elements or any sayings that have developed on that campus that makes people happy, that makes children feel secure, that gets teachers to say, I love teaching at that school and I'm recruiting others to come to this school. That is called an excellent school culture. And today what we're going to be looking at is an example of what an excellent school culture looks like. We're going to be looking at a principal who walked into an environment of an underperforming school and changed the culture to one where students became successful. And we're talking about a new principal who had been in position for 1 year, and she was able to turn that school around. So, on Principals on the Come Up, we call that a hallelujah success story. Let me tell you about the person that I am just so excited to introduce to you tonight. I want to introduce you to Dr. Kristi Lewis. Dr. Lewis is from Port Arthur, Texas, and she attended Abraham Lincoln High School for 4 years. And as a result of a three-school consolidation, she was part of the first graduating class of Memorial High School in 2003. She went on to attend Prairie View A&M University and graduated in 2008 with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies with a concentration in science. Dr. Lewis received her master's of education in education administration in the fall of 2011 from Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas. In 2018, she obtained her EDD in educational leadership from Lamar University. A phenomenological study for her doctoral dissertation, seeking Caucasian teachers' perceptions of culturally competent strategies that contribute to the success of African American students, was presented and published in the spring of 2018 as well. Dr. Lewis has over 14 years of experience as an educator and an administrator in the Port Arthur Independent School District. 5 years teaching middle school science, and 8 years as an assistant principal, and 1 year as a building principal. I would like to bring on to you our guest for tonight, and that is Dr. Kristi Lewis. Hey, Dr. Lewis.
Hi, Dr. Paul.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I am great. I am great. I am just so happy that you took the time out to be with us today because I just, those halls that you're walking in, we both walk those halls. That office you're sitting in, we both sat in that office. And I am just so excited. So tell me about your day today. How about that? Let's start off with that. What kind of day did you have today?
It was actually a pretty good day. I had a couple of meetings with central administration, but other than that, the halls were calm. Systems were in place. Everyone was working. Students were learning, and so that's a good day here at Thomas Jefferson. So we're happy about
that. Yes, ma'am. So, Dr. Lewis, tell us what your philosophy is of education and why you chose the field of education.
Okay. My philosophy, and what I tell students and parents, because I try to live it every single day, is that I want to be firm, fair, and consistent every single day with every student, every parent, and all of my interactions with my faculty, staff, parents, and students. And with that being aligned as such, it helps me to be in my practices to be consistent across the board with everything, and there is no real questions on how something is happening, because the staff and the students already know the expectations set forth, and they already know the standard here. And so with that, if we are infusing that character education into the curriculum and making certain that we're meeting the needs of the total student, then I feel like it's a win-win for all. So we yes, we care deeply about the academic proponent of it, but more so we want to make certain that the kids are fed, that they are clothed, that they are fresh, and so we try to meet those needs as well with community closets and things like that we brought aboard here at Thomas Jefferson. So just believing in the kids, knowing that they can, and showing them examples of others that have come from similar backgrounds and that have actually matriculated through the educational system and made something successful of themselves. So I like to bring in, my friends from Prairie View or different areas that are black and brown as well, to show them, hey, they are a success story. They may have come from a single parent home as well. I came from a single parent home, and I let them know there's no excuses here at Thomas Jefferson, because whether you come from a 2-parent household or a single parent household, we all have the same opportunities. And so that's pretty much the philosophy that I abide by here on campus.
Well, that's so interesting that you should say that, because, in education now, all we hear about is the learning loss, and we're talking about how far behind our children of color and our rural children are, and nobody is saying things like what you just said. Things like we're not. Of course, academics comes first, but how can I hear you if I know you don't like me?
Exactly.
How can I learn when I slept on my cousin's couch last night and I'm wearing the same uniform that I wore yesterday?
Exactly.
And you're fussing at me about something that's just insignificant, and you're just blowing it all out of proportion. We're thinking, you're thinking about that child and providing the kind of atmosphere for that child to learn, for that child to succeed.
Exactly. Because I like to start off the year with that poem, because I ain't got a pencil. Because some of our teachers may not be aware, but when we start off that school year, my very first meeting with the teachers, I passed that poem out to every faculty, staff member, security, custodian, cafeteria worker, everyone in the building, so that they'll know this is where we are. We're not making excuses for them, but we're going to understand exactly where they come from, and we're going to work that way.
Exactly. So tell me about where all this passion comes from for you to be in education and having chose that as a career.
Well, I come from a family of educators. My dad was a coach and my mom was a special ed teacher for 34 years. And my dad stayed in the education system for over 40 years. But my sister is also a teacher she's an elementary PE teacher. So it came, but I actually started off in nursing. I went to Prairie View, and I was accepted into the nursing program, into the nursing school. So I actually went to clinical rotation.
I really think you were just trying to show them I'm not gonna be like y'all. I'm gonna be something else.
That's what my mom said. And so I went through my first clinical rotation at Methodist. I'll never forget. I was on Alkec 7 in the medical center at Methodist. And I went through clinical rotation. Book work was fine. Like I have a passion for science.
Yeah.
So the book work was fine, but it was the touching the people and the hands-on part that I was like, oh, I don't know. I first walked into a room and a man was passing blood, and it was the worst smell I had ever smelled in my life. And then I went in, like I was on my clinicals. And then I went into a room and the nurse came in and was suctioning out the trach, and I started dry heaving. And the nurse was like, ma'am, you have to step out. I I was like, ooh, But again, I'm excelling in my work, like the copy part, it was fine, but the clinical part was just getting to me. And I was telling that November, I think I made it basically through the whole semester. And I called my mom because I was the type of person, my mom always instilled in us, when you start something, you're going to finish it.
Yeah.
You don't stop. But I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to be an adult. I'm in college. I'm probably like 20 years old. And I'm like, I don't think I like this though. So this is going to be my life. Like I'm going to get up and go to a job every day that I don't like. And I know that you and I were talking a little earlier that I had already started subbing when I would come home on my breaks, my freshman and sophomore year. Because at this time I'm a junior.
Yeah.
And so I called my mom in November and I was scared because I'm like, man, she's going to kill me. Because, they play all these little nursing uniforms and nursing. And so I was like, Mama. And she said, what, Kristi? And I said, I don't think I want to do nurse school no more. And so many people, like my family and friends, were like, are you crazy? It's hard to get into Prairie View nursing school and you actually made it and you're going to turn around. And I said, I just don't like it. I don't like touching the people. I don't like the smells. I don't like the blood. I don't like anything about it. And my mom was like, Kristi, whatever you do, you need to love it because you have to do it for the next 30 years of your life.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, I think I want to be a teacher. And she was like, I knew it. I knew it, but I couldn't tell you anything because you had your mind made up. I had to let you go and see for yourself. She said, I knew you wasn't going to like nursing. You're my child. I know you. But I had to let you go ahead, And so I called my dad and I told him, you could tell he was a bit upset too because they were sticklers for finishing whatever you start. But I was like, in this case, I have to do what's best for me because this is going to be my career,
Yeah.
So I went back to Prairie View and I enrolled in the the education program, College of Education. And I concentrated in science because I had so much science behind me already because of nursing.
Yeah.
So that's how I got it. But to what we were speaking up to earlier, I started subbing, and that subbing, it did something to me. Like I liked everything about it. I already knew what subject I wanted to teach because I like science. I like hands-on things. I knew I wasn't an English person or a math person or a social studies person. And so I loved it. And so immediately when I went back to the College of Education, I enrolled in a science education program. And I was just picking up hours and hours and hours, to try to get caught up because I felt like I was behind from the nursing major. But that's kind of how I started out. And then, of course, the rest was history. I came back to started teaching.
That's a story. I mean, and that's a life experience too that you can pass on to the students in your building. Sometimes we think we're on the right track, and we really find out that's just not where we need to be, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So what I want to congratulate you on is the success that you had with your state assessment scores, where you took a school that became underperforming, a school that was known as a school for its exceptional grades and students, and a school where you were a part of a successful school. And then coming back to that school and finding it to be underperforming and in need of improvement. So I just congratulate you on that, turning that school around from F rating to a B rating, which is phenomenal, especially in light of the pandemic and all the changes that went with that. So tell us about some of the things that you think were important to the turnaround that happened in your school.
Well, first it was God, because I stayed on my knees many a nights praying for this campus and praying that we can just make some progress.
Yeah.
And the team, of course, it was not me at all. I mean, I have to give it to my team. I put systems in place for us to work, but they worked it. The team worked the plan didn't work them. So I mean, from my administrative team to my teachers, my custodians, my secretary, of course, my cafeteria worker, my IC, I mean, these people, they were phenomenal. My entire team was phenomenal because everyone bought into the vision and they ran with it. My entire team, my counseling team, everyone ran with the vision. And so it definitely was not just me. It took an entire team. But what we did was we came in and we put systems in place that were not there before, because a lot of people would say, oh, the pandemic. And yes, that played a part because you had students out of school so long, out of routine, out of systematic routine. So it was just getting that back. But that really was not, it didn't take long to do that because kids actually like structure.
Yeah.
They love structure.
Yeah.
And so being back in school, and as long as we laid out the expectation and told them what we expected and then followed through with it, mean what you say and say what you mean with the parents and the students, the staff and everyone, it took a team effort, including the parents. The parents were there for us. You know, we put in, different things like the Titan plan for success, so that whenever a kid started slipping in their grades with C's, D's, or F's, then they automatically would receive a phone call. And that will prompt the parents to begin sending them to tutorials or, actually supporting the school. So we do thank the parents for that as well. I can't quite remember the rest of your question, Dr. Post.
Well, the things that it took. So the first thing you said is that you had a system in place.
Mm-hmm.
You had an equitable role. Mm-hmm. That is, everybody who's at the school. It doesn't matter whether you're at the administrative role, mm-hmm. or whether you are a cafeteria worker or custodian. Everybody has an equitable role for success in your school.
Yes, the security even shut things down, that I asked to be put in place. As far as one thing we did at one point, we saw a lot of traffic in the hallways. So mm-hmm. that's something that you have to stop, because it's coming from a teacher, of course. If teachers are allowing a lot of passes out in the class, so we stopped it. And so we started roaming periods to where no one had office hours, not even myself. Mm-hmm. No APs, no one was to sit in the office. We were roaming the hallways all day long, mm-hmm. Every period, to see, hey, what's going on? Why are these kids out of class? So at that point, when there was no particular reasons, we had to put another system in place. Mm-hmm. And so it's systems that you put in place, but you have to make certain that they are able to be maintained. You can't just keep putting frivolous systems in place. And so with that one, we actually did restroom escorts. So any radio holder, whether it was a counselor, an AP, whoever, a security monitor, once we got a call to the main office and said, hey, this kid needs to go to the restroom, we said, okay, fine, we'll escort him there. We would escort him. So that stopped like one time. It took one time for us to have an altercation in a restroom. And I said, okay, well, now we'll have escorts to the restroom. And then, of course, we make exceptions for for young ladies and things like that. If it's emergency and things like that, then they'll still have to call through the main office and say, hey, we have a young lady with a restroom emergency. And so the hall monitor, the security will say, okay, I have it. I'm on A1. I'm watching them now. So everything is highly secured, highly monitored, especially in the culture and the climate that we're in today in public schools. Safety is a big priority, of course, as always. But just putting those systems in place and holding to high expectations has actually helped us a whole lot. And that is for the staff, students, everyone in between.
So in the realm of culture, the things that you just explained to us that you put in place is what we call a common engagement. That means that it's common because everyone knows about it. Mm-hmm. The engagement piece is that as a team, you really don't have a choice in this. We have decided, we have noted that here is a problem, and it's a common problem. Mm-hmm. We're going to engage this problem, and we're going to have common engagement, which is a part of a positive school culture. Mm-hmm. And of course, research has shown over and over and over in our schools that are underperforming, if we don't have a culture that's positive, that's infused with a common engagement, where there is some creativity, because the part of no office hours. That's
Mhm.
creativity. That is
Mhm.
not something that you were taught on your exit exam or in graduate school. That was just the creativity. And like you say, prayers. Lord, give me some direction on this.
Yes.
Um,
But
and
standing on the shoulders of giants as well, because I think back to me, you have to be a practical, administrator and principal as well. And I think back to when I was in the classroom under your leadership, what kind of things did you do? And so I often reflect back to that when I was in the classroom and working under your leadership. I also worked under Dr. Crochet's leadership before they did the consolidation of the middle schools.
then,
And I just think back to what you all often did as far as what practices did you do, how did you do it, and I really think back that far, because to me you two were some of the most phenomenal leaders I've ever worked under, and so I have to give credit where credit is due to the people who basically helped me promote and move on and just learn from you all.
yeah, well, I thank you because and I did the same thing. I did the same thing because I worked my leadership under Sharon Dozier Davis, Sharon Bryant, and I could even recall once I became principal. No, I could recall when I was her assistant principal, and she would have me to do things, and I do it, but I didn't understand it. I said, "Well, why is she doing this?" But I did it anyway, and 3, 4, 5 years down the road, when now I'm the principal, and then it hits me. I said, "Oh, that's why she did that." Now
Yeah.
I understand. Now
Yeah.
I understand. It's like a
You don't
transition.
understand until you sit in a seat.
Exactly.
It looks good and it looks glamorous till you get there.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So we have lots of principals who are watching, who are first year, second year, third year principals. What can you give these principals encouragement? As here we are now, it's November. We've already had the first reporting period for some, a second reporting period, and they, some of them got a chance to hire their teachers. Others, they found the people there, and they're just being challenged. And so, what words of encouragement, or what can you tell them to do that you have learned during your first year as a principal of Thomas Jefferson?
Make many phone calls when you don't know. It's okay not to know. I mean, it's been times I've still called on Dr. Polk after all these years of working with her. I still have called her, so you call people who have been there before you, who can give you sound, solid advice. Stay organized. I have calendars. I have my calendar right here on my desk for November. I mean, I keep my calendars with me. I do parent newsletters. I stay consistent with my doings. I hold weekly meetings with my administrators. I have a calendar for the whole year that basically pace me and tell me what needs to go on each month. Mm-hmm. And so I actually borrowed that from another district. Mm-hmm. And so it's good to network. Yeah. But it's good to also make certain that you're creating your culture. You don't get so caught up in the principalship that you forget about the culture on the campus, and not only the culture and climate for the students, but the culture and climate for the staff. Mm-hmm. So I do like staff celebrations every single month. I invite the staff. The way we set up our duty schedules for the sporting events, each AP goes to a different, is on duty for a different night of the sporting events. So if it's maybe one of my APs that's over math, then we'll invite the math department to come out and support the kids. So that's culture, that's climate. The kids love to see the teachers at those games. So on the social studies administrator night, the social studies department will come out. On CTE and science and elective night, then those teachers will come out. And so it's creating that culture, that climate, giving the students something to look forward to. And not only are you giving the students something to look forward to, you have leverage at that point. Mm-hmm. And so kids like to have things to look forward to. So we did a homecoming dance and we said, hey, no tardies. Your behavior needs to be, straight. And, we just give them things to look forward to. So I'm telling you, our behavior, our tardies, everything. So I said, oh, we gotta have to start doing dances all the time. We're gonna have to. And then yesterday we had our last home game and we had a pep rally. And I said, if anybody is tardy today, you will not attend a pep rally. We had parties yesterday. I was like, we didn't do a pep rally every day. Like, just giving them something to look forward to. We did a lot of clubs. We implemented a lot of clubs because every student may not be the best scholar. So they may not get to the A and AB honor roll recognition. Every student may not be the best athlete. But we end up implementing a lot of clubs and organizations that even the teachers took interest in as well. And that's a relationship builder for teachers and students that the students may not even have as a teacher. So we did like a Dungeons and Dragons club, an anime club, a pet club, a book club. We did a sailboat club, a cooking club. So it's a lot of different clubs on campus that the students can get involved in that's not just based on academics or not just based on sports. It's based on their own liking. And so it helps them to be involved. It helps them to feel a part of something on campus, even if it's not a part of academics or sports, because there's more to life than just academics and sports.
Yeah.
And everyone to feel included and inclusive. Because I had one parent who came and she told me, oh, I'm gonna punish her. She's not gonna be able to be a part of the club. And I went outside and I begged their mom. I said, Mom, please, this is our, this helps us when your child is involved. That's not a true punishment. I say this club is for these kids love it. Like it's a different type of club. I don't understand it. And they read different books and but the kids are all into it. And even the teacher that sponsors it is really into it. This anime and this Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
We have something that can basically reach each child. So building that culture and climate is very important. And I heard some teachers and I was just passing by, but I heard them saying like that they enjoy the once a month staff appreciation, because for September for Hispanic Heritage, we may have done like a nacho average staff and serve nachos. And then for October, we did pink treats for breast cancer awareness. For November, of course, we're going to end up doing a Thanksgiving luncheon. And for Christmas, we're going to do the 12 days of Christmas with them. But it's just something for them to look forward to help pass the school year on Wednesdays. We always did this with Dr. Polk. So this is something I got from Dr. Polk. We wear our t-shirts and our jeans and little things like that. The teachers love and appreciate being able to wear their jeans on certain days and things like that. So it's a lot to it, but at the same time, it can't. But I learned to take care of myself as well, because at first I was feeling like I was getting a little anxious and overwhelmed because it's a big job. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. It seems glamorous before you sit in the seat. When you sit but I mean, I'm appreciative and I'm thankful to God because I prayed for this, but I just want to make certain that I can stay the course and do what I need to do and do right by children and do right by the faculty and staff here. Because unconsciously, if you're a people person and you're here for the right things, you take on everybody else's problems unconsciously, which is not always a very good thing for your own health. But sometimes it may be a day where I say, okay, I need a breather. Let me step out the building for lunch, take a drive around the block and come back. But it's things like that. You have to make certain that you take care of yourself as well, but just prioritizing and making certain that you keep a calendar and keep a good schedule.
I'm going to close it out, and I'm going to kind of give you a minute to think about this. And that is cell phones and social media. Now, we all know that everybody has a cell phone. I don't walk away from my cell phone. If I do, I'm all over the house looking for it like it's a lost child. Parents all have their different social media accounts. And lots of principals, lots of superintendents are saying, let's back away from social media. The kids are going to be calling their parents. They're going to be on their phones during instruction. I mean, what can you say to new principals who have policies that are a part of their district handbooks, but at the same time You know how important it is to communicate with your parents. So my question is, how can you include the social media into your school in a positive way and not be so afraid of social media? Because it's coming one way or the other. You can't stop it. You cannot stop it. Um, so what do you tell a new principal?
Well, I basically have grown up almost with social media because
Yeah.
Facebook came out in 2003, 2004 when I was in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
Back in the time when you had to have a college email just to get on it. But
Yeah.
I embrace social media, and I educate my parents on it as well and the students. And I tell them, now, granted, the school cannot control what someone puts on social media about another. Because a lot of times it will trickle back into school and the parents are upset and they want us to control it.
Yeah.
Now, our policy here at this district is that electronics, are not allowed. However, we know that the kids are going to bring them. We know that they're going to have them. I always tell the parents and the students, if they are lost, of course, we're not responsible for them. But moving over to the technology part of it, we know that they have their phones. We have a 1-to-1 ratio with Chromebooks, so they don't really need their phones. But in the case that something happened to the Chromebook or something like that, we have where in the classroom, the teachers can put up a technology in use sign on their door if it's being allowed by the teacher. Now, we do have a policy here with no cell phones during instructional time. So we do want them to be put up so that they do not cause distractions and impede on the instructional process. However, we have a lot of teachers that are aware and that embrace it. So like to say they're doing something with Kahoot or doing a quick review or exit ticket. They'll say, hey, pull out your cell phones, put in the code, and they'll go around and check. And so it's about embracing it. Even I believe, I think we may have missed it this year, but I believe last year during the Red Ribbon and Bully Prevention Month, we had them eat with a friend they don't usually eat with or eat with just another classmate. And we told them, hey, put it on social media and put hashtag bully free zone or hashtag eating with a friend. Yeah. And so we embrace it like that and have them to where it turns into a positive and not a negative, because it can become often negative because sometimes, of course, kids misuse social media. But at the same time, we embrace it. And like I said, we'll have the teachers put up a sign and say technology in use if the teachers are allowing the phones to be used during class time. So it's about embracing it and not being afraid of it, because we already know that it's here and it's not going anywhere.
Exactly. So as far as your culture is concerned, that is considered as a part of, I guess, non-traditional thinking, where instead of you seeing something as a negative, turn it into a positive. With your culture, I also hear you saying celebrations. Celebrations for the students, celebration for your teachers is important. I also hear you saying common engagement, where everyone decided or everyone noticed something that was a detriment to the learning of our students. And also, too, it was something that we needed to put some teachers in check as well. And we made it a common thing where we're all going to be engaged in this, which is a part of a winning culture. And the research says that if you do not have a winning culture, then you cannot expect your school to succeed. And based upon the things that you have told me, the pillars that you have in place has provided a winning culture, and your receipts are your scores at the end of the year. And you also have your community support. You have your parental support and the belief systems that are in your school, where children believe that this is a good place to be, a safe place to be. And ultimately, you want your environment and your culture to be one where you will attract and retain teachers, because we know that the research also says that The teacher who has 1 to 5 years experience is the one who is growing and can share more information about the children, especially the children that we teach in our underserved areas, our Black and our brown children, and our children who live in rural areas. So, Dr. Lewis, I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing the information. I just want to say that, I am just so proud of you and the success that is continuing to go on at Thomas Jefferson, and that is what makes things happen. So I want to say thank you again. And for all of you who are watching, I want to say that we've just been spending some time with Dr. Kristi Lewis, who is the principal of Thomas Jefferson Middle School. She is beginning her 2nd year and enjoying some incredible success. So we thank you, and we will see you next time. Hold on, Dr. Lewis, while I end the record.